Hey everyone, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Oral Reports. You know, aside from Balto, I know about a few other dog films that take place either in Alaska or in the Arctic wilderness. Those films being Snow Dogs, 8 Below, and Togo, which unfortunately is only found on Disney Plus. But just a couple days ago, I saw a very beautiful but emotional movie that brought back memories of a book I once read during my elementary age. And that film is the subject of my blog today. Released on February 21st, 2020, the movie is The Call of the Wild. So, let's get started. Buck is a big-hearted dog whose blissful domestic life gets turned upside down when he is suddenly uprooted from his Californian home and transplanted to the exotic wilds of the Alaskan Yukon in the 1890s. As the newest rookie on a mail delivery dog sled team, Buck experiences the adventure of a lifetime as he ultimately finds his true place in the world. So, what do I think of this movie? Well, I thought this was a breathtaking film, and I cried at the film's ending. But before I get ahead of myself, let's move on to Mustang notes. The movie is based on the book by Jack London, which I read during my elementary age with a very special teacher named Toby Schoolman. And after reading the book, I liked the setting in the Yukon around the 1890s and the plot involving the Klondike Gold Rush. Also, during the same time, I saw an older film adaptation. Problem is, I can't remember which one, but all I do remember from that version is that John Thornton was shot by Indian arrows, which made me cry as well. The movie was directed by Chris Sanders, who previously voiced Mulan's puppy, Little Brother, and he directed Disney's Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon for DreamWorks. Though there's one other film that he directed for DreamWorks that I do in fact despise with a vengeance. And I'm not looking forward to its upcoming sequel this December. But this would be Chris Sanders' first time directing a live-action feature film. The film's script was written by Michael Green, and it was produced by Erwin Stoff. Also to note, this would have to be the first film labeled under 20th Century Studios since Disney bought Fox. During its production, the film received heavy special effects work from MPC Montreal. Principal photography on the film began in late September 2018 in Los Angeles. The film was not shot on location. Extensive use was made of CGI. Some of it was also shot on sets in Los Angeles and some exteriors in Santa Clarita, California. All in all, the production spent $109 million filming in California, with the final budget reaching $125 to $150 million by the time post-wrapped. Now, what I like about this movie, aside from the story taking place in the same time period, and the fact that it brings back memories from the original book, is the Alaskan environment, which in my opinion is really breathtaking. Plus, I just hope that someday I'll be able to visit Alaska in my future, since it is one of several states that I haven't been to yet. Also, believe it or not, my mother got to go there about a year ago with her best friends. Also, there are a couple scenes that did give me Balto flashbacks, like when Buck sees a wolf spirit several times throughout the film, and when Buck manages to outrun an avalanche. Anyway, I guess that's all I got for Mustang notes, so let's move on to the characters and the rest of the actors. Our main character, Buck, is motion captured by Terry Notary, who also did King Kong from Kong Skull Island. Now, I understand that folks have issues with the fact that Buck is CGI, but to be perfectly honest, I actually don't mind. I mean, has anyone ever seen Scooby-Doo in CGI? Anyway, I think Buck looks very realistic, and I can see several human emotions in him. Plus, while Buck was a spoiled and stubborn dog in the beginning, I like that Buck is very smart, and he does become loyal, and I liked his transition from a sled dog to a wild dog. Plus, I'm surprised that Buck got to mate with a white timber wolf. Next is John Thornton, played by Indiana Jones / Han Solo himself, Harrison Ford, who also got to be in The Secret Life of Pets 2. I really liked Harrison Ford's performance as this character, and I also liked his narration too. In my eyes, Thornton is a very heroic and an adventurous character, and while his backstory regarding his family was a tad a little bit cheesy, I did like the bond that he and Buck share throughout the movie. However, the part where Thornton got killed really made me cry, just like when I saw one of the older film versions. Next is Hal, an arrogant, rich jerk played by Dan Stevens, who was in Beauty and the Beast from 2017 and The Man Who Invented Christmas. To me, this guy is not only arrogant, but he's also ignorant and abusive. For example, not only does he force Buck and his team to pull a heavy sled, but he's really stupid to notice that his sled was frozen over. Plus, I was mad and heartbroken when Hal shot Thornton with his rifle at the end of the movie. But at least he got his comeuppance when Buck pushed him into a burning cabin which collapses on top of him. Finally, we have Perrault, played by Omar Sy, whom I remember from the 5th Bayformers movie, Jurassic World, and Arctic Dogs. This character is Buck's first human master upon arriving at Alaska. Perrault is a mailman who delivers with a sled team, and he hopes to make it on time to the mail deposit out across the land before the bell tolls. He first put Buck at the back of his team, but as the film progresses, and after Spitz, the vicious leader, is beaten and runs off, Perrault puts Buck in the lead in his place. Other actors in the film include Karen Gillan, Bradley Winford, Cara G, and Scott McDonald. And now let's move on to my final words. Overall, this version of Jack London's The Call of the Wild was a good film, but not my favorite this year so far. I'll admit it, it's not a bad start for 20th Century Studios since Disney got rid of the Fox name, but there were some parts that were a tad predictable and cheesy a bit. But on the positive side, the Alaskan environments are beautiful and breathtaking, Buck was a great and a relatable main character, despite the fact that he was CG, but what do I care about that? Harrison Ford does a great performance as John Thornton and as the film's narrator, but I was still heartbroken when Thornton got killed. Hopefully soon, I can go to my local library and reread the original book again, and I highly recommend you viewers to see this movie if you liked said novel, though I don't think I'm interested in buying the film when it comes out on DVD, though. As for my rating, I'll give it an 82% out of 100. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to join me again next time as we move away from Jack London and on to Victor Hugo, where we look at a film version of one of the most tear-jerking musicals ever, Mustang Power.